I gotta be honest. For a first month ranking of my little channel, I was expecting to be more excited about it, but not when it's January. Hey guys, what's up? I'm the kid who talks movies, and I'm here to rank some of the January releases, all the ones that I saw. So this isn't going to be all the January releases in general. This is going to be the ones that I saw, all of which I saw in theaters. So you can probably go to your local theater and check them out, or they might already be available to rent. I don't know. Some of them definitely will be. So yeah, as I kind of started with in the intro, January is the worst month for movies in general, and I was excited about one of these movies. Actually, well, two, but I was excited for two of them. But going into them, I was like, well, they decided to release them in January, so I mean, how good can they be? And I will get this out of the way right now. There's not a single movie on this list that is above a 3.5 for me. So I don't know what that means for y'all. I know what it means for me, but the only movie, like the highest movie on this list, I would call great, but I probably wouldn't rewatch it. So just to set the stage, just to set that stage, that's where I am with all that. So yeah, four films. I'm going to be ranking them from worst to best. And to get the obvious out of the way, this is my opinion. So don't be like, hey, I saw that movie that you hated on, and I actually really liked it. How dare you? Or how dare you praise this movie? How could you? Like, guys, I feel like the discussion of movies has gone on around that sphere for way too long. We need to start appreciating difference of opinion and, cherishing the talk of it. Just like, hey, I didn't like this movie, but I'm glad that you had the experience I couldn't have with it. And I hope people had a much better experience than I did with my number four, but because my number four is Night Swim. Holy crap, this was the January horror movie. It was bad. It was like really bad. I even had a review for this, which two of the four here I do not have reviews for, and that was because I had a little bit of a schedule conflict. Also, as a point of reference, there were a couple movies I wanted to check out that I unfortunately wasn't able to see. I wanted to see Book of Clarence, I wanted to see Founders Day, and I wanted to see Society of the Snow, which I believe came out in January this year, but I'm not entirely certain on that. But those are the three that I wanted to check out. And Night Swim, I was late to the party on this one, and I already heard all the negative stuff, but I was going in like, I mean, how bad can it be? Is it really that bad? Like, come on. I bet this new filmmaker is going to do something again, and I'm excited to see what direction he can bring to something like this. Well, I can't say that after I saw the movie now. Granted, I do want the director to succeed, and I want him to get some sort of, like, great film after this, because this was not it, and I can tell that, like, it's disappointing when you are in charge of a film and that film does worse than you were expecting it to. I bet that hurts. And that's something that, like, is putting me on guard with calling this, like, horrendous or atrocious or abysmal or just, it was so bad that my eyes were bleeding. Like, it wasn't that bad, but it was close. The story and characters are hollow. One of the characters in here that are super annoying. Their whole personality is, oh, I used to be a baseball player, but not anymore. There's scenes in this movie that are laughable. I went on a 10-minute rant on how much I hated this movie and how much time I wasted going to see this movie, and I will never rewatch it again. It will likely end up in my worst of the year, probably on the higher spectrum, because I know it's a first-time director and I don't want to be super hard on him, but he did not make a good film. And I have to address that. I have to address my opinion honestly. I did not like this film at all. And I think I'm being merciful when I feel like when I see other people's reviews online about this film, they are talking so much shit about it. And granted, it is a bad movie and it does suck. And I had one of my own videos like that as well. But I feel like the level of hate that it's getting and just the least amount of praise I've seen for any movie in a long time. Like, I have not seen anybody put a review out for this and be honest and say, hey, I actually enjoyed that. I haven't seen that one bit at all. And I just feel bad for it. So I'm not as hard as you guys are. It's not a good movie, at all, especially in the third act. My God, what was that? But it was fine. It was nothing I hate that I spent my minutes there and spent my time there when I could have been doing so much more. But yeah, that's not a good film, and I never plan on watching it again. It'll likely be around my worst of the year list. Now moving up. Night Swim was the only movie this month, that I didn't like. The other ones, I can at least say I had a pretty good time with. And I don't know. Some of them are good, and I don't know if I'd rewatch them again. But yeah, I don't think I'd rewatch another one of the films on this list. But at least I could say they're all good from here on up. Number 3 is going to be ISS. ISS was a movie that I didn't really hear anything about. I wasn't the most excited for it. When the trailer dropped, the trailer looked really good, but I wasn't one of those people who was just man, immediately going to my most anticipated of the year. That wasn't me at all. I think that there are much more movies coming out this year that people aren't crediting as much as they should. Like Furiosa, easily my most anticipated of the year. Nosferatu, Alien Romulus. These films are going to be the gems of 2024. I guarantee it. And as soon as I saw people propping this movie up as oh, it's my most anticipated, it's going to be really, really good, I was on the spectrum to where I was I mean, I'm sure it'll be good, but I can live without watching this movie. And unfortunately, that's kind of how I felt watching the movie. I'm not going to say that I didn't have a good time. I had a great time watching this movie. Especially, this was one of the, I don't usually see a lot of movies alone. And this and What Other Film are the two films I actually saw by myself. And this one was one of those experiences that I'm glad I had with myself. And this will definitely be a memory. But I just wish the movie was just a tad bit better, because with a couple of fixes, just a couple, not everything needs to be big, just a couple fixes, this could be a really good film. But unfortunately, it's just a good film. It's just good. So I didn't put out a review for this, so I'm probably going to talk about this one a little longer than I did Night Swim. But yeah, the things I did like about this movie a lot, I loved the lead character and the lead actress. The actress really elevated the character for me, and she was able to, she was very captivating. It was a very, I thought it was a great performance. I also thought that the lead Russian, I don't remember his name because, unfortunately, this movie's a little bit forgettable. Spoilers in my negative category. But the lead Russian guy was, I thought, really, really good. Really good. And he really surprised me. I was dang, that guy, I don't know his name, but I need to figure it out. I need to figure out what this guy's going to do next, because I am interested after seeing what he's done in this film. And I love that this film didn't immediately paint the Russians as the bad guys. I mean, yes, they're seen as the bad guys, but it's not black and white, it's gray. And you have the brilliant concept. I mean, just out of the gate, brilliant concept of the ISS coming together as this trustworthy bond between the U.S. and Russia, and then nuclear war breaks out, and they are ordered from their countries to kill their friends on the ISS and take control of it. That is a very interesting concept, and they play into it very nicely. And with that gray area, there are moments in this film to where you can see their face, the way they're emoting shows that they don't want to do this if they had to. Like these are their friends and they care about them and they do not want to end their lives. And that was very striking about the film. Moving into some of my negatives with the film, I thought that the budget of the film was a bit too ambitious for the, like I thought that the story was too ambitious for the budget. There we go. I put it in words. There we go. I actually put that in words. I'm happy about that. But yeah, I think that it's too ambitious for the film. There are moments where I can clearly tell, okay, that was green screen. But the set design is great. It's just the space stuff where it'll be missing stars, or it'll like a corner of the frame would be clearly fake. And I'm just like, dude, half of this looks fine, and then half of it looks terrible. So, I don't know if they had the kind of budget they needed for this film, but also it is a very isolated film. So, I don't know. I don't know. I thought a lot of the movie was hollow, like, a lot of it. Like, there's some twists and reveals to where I was just like, I mean, I didn't see that coming because I just didn't care, and I still don't care. Like, that was unfortunately how I felt throughout a lot of this, and it was just not very good. Like, I was expecting to like this film a little bit more than I did. And granted, out of the theater, I thought it was great, but then looking back on it, I'm just like, well, there was that, and I was like, oh, dang. The movie also starts off very weak. I don't think it starts in the best spot. Like, it's not the most captivating thing ever, and it lacks a lot of what makes Alien and The Thing, like all these other paranoia thrillers, immediately gripping. That's what this movie lacked. And I lacked a sense of care throughout this movie. I feel like I should have cared more about the characters and the story, way more than I actually did. So, unfortunately, that's what makes it number 3. I would still say that this is a good film and that you should check it out. I'd say it's a solid 2.5. Maybe that's just me being generous. Maybe it's a 2, but it might be a 2.5. Or, I don't know. I still don't even know what I think of the rating yet. But yeah, it was solid. It was solid. Probably never rewatch it again, but and I might forget about it because it is forgettable, but it was solid. It was decent. Number 2 for me is going to be The Beekeeper. Now, I've got a story to tell. So, I was making it my goal to see a bunch of movies, like the most movies I'd ever seen in any calendar year in 2024. And The Beekeeper was coming out. I remember seeing the trailer for it, and I was thinking, that looks so fucking generic. Just, please. Oh my God. Maybe I'll watch it because it's just a fun action movie, I guess, but no. And then, like, a couple weeks before it released, there was a lot of buzz about it. Like, there was a lot of, no pun intended, there was a lot of, like, surrounding buzz about it. They were just like, especially as somebody who works at a theater, I would ask the people I would get their tickets, and I would be like, hey, thanks for coming. What movie you checking out, and what movie you going to come back for? And a lot of them said The Beekeeper. I was like, really? And I would have, like, conversations with them about what makes this film interesting, and they would spat out, like, a bunch of stuff. I remember talking to the mall cop there, like, who comes in and out of AMC, and he was excited for the movie. Like, when he saw the IMAX poster, he was like, dang, this Beekeeper movie is going to be fucking awesome. And I asked him why. And I was just like, because it's a fucking awesome action movie. It'll be exactly what you know it'll be and more. It'll be awesome. And just that attitude for that film made me much more excited for it. To the point where, even though it's not out, it'll be out soon. I don't know when, but soon. My most anticipated list will be out. I filmed it couple weeks ago, but I've never gotten back to it. Hopefully it'll come out. It'll be really late, and I will try to address that in the editing, but that will be coming out. The Beekeeper was on there. The Beekeeper was on there, and it was like in the high middle section. And I'm really like going into it. I was like, I'm actually really excited for this thing. This could be like maybe like the hidden action movie of the year. This could be one of Jason Statham's best because he didn't do well in The Meg. He certainly didn't do well in Expendables, and he had that weird one, Operation Fortune, and he had Fast X, and nothing like really seemed to come together for him last year that something like this might make it work. I was hoping for that, and it did just that. Now listen, the script is horrible. Like, it is so bad. They're like Friendly Friend as the scammer website, like fucking all that fucking shit. Trying to make your villains evil by saying the most, like, they had no care at all in handling any of that shit, but just like, what makes you like evil? Is it the money or the power? Like, what the fuck is that kind of line? Then you have like fucking the whole police storyline, which could have been cut out entirely, and the movie would have been better for it, in my opinion. There's a point where the lead, like, detective lady, she goes, oh, like, her fucking grandmother's house burns down. No, not house, like barn. And she was like, she feels nothing, even after her grandma dies. And she's just like, oh, that's a shame. I lost my virginity in that barn. Like, it is baffling stuff that I'm just like, why is this in the script? Why? But honestly, I don't really care. This movie delivered on the action, and it was just a good time at the movies. I thought Jason Statham was awesome. I thought that Josh Hutcherson was a lot of fun. I thought freaking Jeremy Irons was a blast. And I just had a lot of fun with this movie. I've got a full review for it. You can check it out. It's a good action movie. And that's all I really wanted. So, yeah, I don't have anything else to say. It was a good movie. But my number one, which shocks the hell out of me that this is my number one, I'm actually saying this. My number one of January is Mean Girls. Now, I have a lot to talk about with this movie. Starting off, I never saw the original film. I didn't. And I haven't seen the Broadway version. I haven't seen anything about this. All my friends are into it. They even like played it at a party. I paid attention to like a couple bits and pieces. And like all I remembered was a bus and a like a Christmas dance and a book. Like a bunch of weird stuff. But I wasn't really paying attention. So it didn't really mesh for me. And a lot of this movie I was really scared about because it had the whole Gen Z humor, which I am not a big fan of. I hate our culture nowadays, and knowing that that was going to be a direct, just like, that is what we are marketing this movie off of, I was like, lucky us. That's why I want to go to a movie, to hear fucking people say slay. What the fuck? So I decided to invite a friend to see it because I know that one of my buddies wanted to see it and he was going to have more fun than I did with the movie. And when I walked out, I kid you not, that was really good. It was really, really good. And a lot of it really worked for me, actually. I thought the humor actually really worked. I thought the songs worked. I thought, like, the whole high school thing. They were able to play high school in a very over-the-top way, but in a way that actually worked. And it actually, like, called back, like, I'm in high school right now. And that's kind of how it feels. It's over the top in the movie, but that's how it feels. And it was wild that this movie, Mean Girls, was able to depict that. It just surprised me because I didn't expect that. I thought the movie was actually funny. And I thought, like, a lot of it that I would have told you that, like, no, that would not work in a movie like this. Like, how? Like, no, that is, I could not like that. I actually really liked. And it actually really worked for me. And I was blown away. As somebody who loves movies and gets skeptical about a lot of things, I am so happy that I was wrong. And I get to tell everybody who is actually excited for this that I told was going, like, as soon as I saw this movie, I was going to tell them, yeah, it's as bad as I told you it was going to be. No, now I get to tell them, hey, As the guy who was not looking forward to this, I was wrong. Get excited. It's really good. A couple things didn't work for me. I thought that the lead singer, like, not as an actress, I thought her acting was good, but she's not on par with the rest of the cast. And I don't think I'll ever, like, rewatch it. And there are aspects of this movie that, like, I don't really like. But I thought most of the performances were really good. Jon Hamm, he's in this movie for like 3 minutes. Don't expect Jon Hamm to be a praising like thing. Oh, everybody's talking about how awesome Jon Hamm was. No, only I'm gonna talk about that because I fucking love Jon Hamm and he was great in this movie. So yeah, this movie really surprised me. I was not expecting that, and so for all of that, it's my number one. This might go in my most surprising of the year by the end of it because it was really, really good, and I was not expecting that. So, comment below your thoughts on my list. What's your list? Are there some movies that you wish I saw, like Book of Clarence, or Society of the Snow, or Founders Day? I don't know if I missed anything out with those. I think the most I missed out was with Society of the Snow, but I'll probably check out some of those movies before the end of the year, and they'll be in my big ranking for the year of like which is the worst and like worst to best for all the movies I saw. They'll likely be in there. Some of them, not all of them. But yeah. Yeah, I hope y'all have a great day. See y'all on the next one. Bye.